Mr. Kuti spoke with the school administrators, and before I knew it, I was officially enrolled. I couldn't believe it. Me, Tabitha, in the best school in town. It felt like a dream come true. I was already 18, so I was the oldest in my class. At first, I worried that the other students might laugh at me or think I didn't belong. But I didn't let that stop me. I was determined to make the most of this opportunity. Every day, I worked hard, studying late into the night and doing my best to catch up. The subjects were challenging, and there were times when I felt overwhelmed, but I pushed through. Day by day, I got better and better. The teachers were kind, and they encouraged me, which made me want to try even harder. Being in that school was like a fresh start for me. I was no longer just the girl with a troubled past. I was a student with dreams and a future ahead of me. And with each passing day, I started to believe that maybe, just maybe, I could build a new life for myself. One day, everything changed again. Mr. Kuti's wife and their only child returned to the city. When they arrived, I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect or how they would react to me living in their home. But Mr. Kuti quickly put my fears to rest. He introduced me to Mrs. Kuti, and she greeted me with a warm smile. "Hello, Tabitha," she said kindly, her voice gentle. I could tell right away that she was a kind person. I felt a little more at ease, though there was still a part of me that was afraid she might see me as just a maid. To show my gratitude, I decided to cook a nice meal for the family. I carefully prepared the dishes, wanting everything to be perfect. When the food was ready, I set the table and we all sat down together to eat. It was the first time in a long while that I felt like I was part of something good, something normal. Mrs. Kuti and their child treated me not as a maid, but almost like a family member. They spoke to me with respect and kindness, and it made my heart swell with gratitude. I continued with my schooling and helped around the house, and for the first time in years, I felt truly content. I was so thankful for this new life, where I could focus on my studies and live in peace. But as much as I wanted to believe that things would stay this way, something happened that would turn my world upside down once again. It was like a dark cloud suddenly appeared, reminding me that my past was never far behind, and soon I would face a challenge that I never saw coming, one that would test everything I had built in this new life. It was a bright, happy day, their daughter's birthday. The house was buzzing with excitement as Mr. and Mrs. Kuti prepared for the big party. They invited many friends and family members, and the whole place was filled with laughter, joy, and the sound of children playing. I was busy helping with the preparations, making sure everything was perfect for the celebration. As guests started to arrive, I worked quietly in the background, arranging food, tidying up, and making sure everyone was comfortable. I was happy to see the smiles on their faces and to hear the cheerful chatter that filled the rooms. It felt like a perfect day, one that I wanted to remember. But then, as I was carrying a tray of drinks, I saw her, Auntie Bimpe. She was standing in the middle of the room, laughing and chatting with the other guests. My heart stopped, and the tray almost slipped from my hands. How could this be? Auntie Bimpe, the very person I had run from, was here, in the same house where I had found safety. I quickly realized that she was a friend of Mrs. Kuti and had been invited to the party. My heart sank deep into my chest. I knew in that moment that my secret was no longer safe. If Auntie Bimpe recognized me, everything could fall apart. The new life I had built could be destroyed in an instant. Panic set in, and I tried to stay out of sight. I thought if I could just sneak out of the party, maybe she wouldn't see me. Maybe I could escape before she had the chance to expose me. But as I was slipping toward the door, I felt a hand grab my wrist. I turned around, and there she was, Auntie Bimpe, pulling me aside where no one could see us. She looked at me with a knowing smile, her eyes full of mischief. "Where do you think you're going, Tabitha?" she whispered, her voice dripping with menace. My heart pounded in my chest, and I knew I was trapped. There was no running away this time. I was caught, and I had no idea what would happen next. Auntie Bimpe leaned in close, her grip tightening on my wrist. "Don't worry, Tabitha," she whispered, her voice low and dangerous. "Your secrets are safe with me, for now." My heart raced as I listened, fear creeping into every part of my body. She told me that she had already spoken to Mrs. Kuti about me. "Your new madam had nothing but nice things to say about you," she said with a sly smile. "She thinks you're just a hard-working, sweet girl who's been helping around the house. Isn't that lovely?" But then her tone changed. The smile faded and her eyes turned cold. "But, Tabitha, there's something you need to do for me if you want it to stay that way." My stomach twisted as I realized what was coming. I knew Auntie Bimpe too well to think she'd keep my secret out of kindness. She asked me a question that took me by surprise. "Have you ever seen me with a husband or any children?" I shook my head, confused and scared, unsure of where this was going. I had never seen Auntie Bimpe with a family of her own. She was always alone, always looking out for herself. Then she dropped a bombshell. "Mrs. Kuti's daughter isn't Mr. Kuti's child," she hissed. "She'd been having extramarital affairs, and that child belongs to another man." My eyes widened in shock. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could this be true? My mind raced, trying to process this new information. But Auntie Bimpe wasn't done. She leaned in closer and said, "I want you to help me expose Mrs. Kuti. If you do, I'll make sure Mr. Kuti knows the truth, and then he'll be mine. But if you refuse—" She paused, letting her threat hang in the air. She didn't need to finish the sentence. I knew what she meant. "I'll tell everyone about your past. I'll make sure Mr. Kuti knows you were a prostitute, and everything you've built here will be ruined." She finished with an intimidating look. I felt like the ground was crumbling beneath me. Auntie Bimpe had me trapped, and she knew it. I was terrified, my mind spinning with the impossible choice she had given me. If I did what she asked, I would be betraying the family that had treated me so well. But if I refused, she would expose me and destroy the new life I had worked so hard to build. I looked at Auntie Bimpe, seeing the cold determination in her eyes. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she knew I had no choice but to listen. I was caught in a web of lies and secrets, and I had no idea how to escape. I was torn. It felt like I was trapped between two impossible choices. If I kept quiet, Auntie Bimpe could destroy everything by revealing my past. But if I exposed Mrs. Kuti, I would be betraying the very family that had welcomed me and treated me so kindly. The thought of hurting them made my heart ache. I spent the next few days thinking about it over and over again. My mind was a whirlwind of fear and doubt. I was now in school, working towards my dream of becoming a doctor. It was the future I had always wanted, the reason I had come to